He claimed that moderates needed a new lamp to see the spirit of Indian nationalism. Hello PSIR students, today we are going to discuss a very important concept of Aurobindo's spiritualism, because many people struggle a lot to understand this because it is different from traditional spiritualism. So let me clarify that once police got concrete evidence against Aurobindo Ghosh in 1909 Alipur bomb conspiracy case, then he retired from active politics and he shifted to Pondicherry, where he established Aurobindo Ashram and started a new inning that was called a spiritual life. And he did not retire from politics, he retired only from active politics. Pondicherry was under French control, you know. Aurobindo was brought up in London by a French family right from childhood. He finally returned in 1893. He opposed moderates. He claimed that moderates needed a new lamp to see the spirit of Indian nationalism. So, first of all, Aurobindo's spiritualism. Spiritualism has the root word spirit, soul. It is being argued that soul is non-perishable. It cannot be destroyed. Body can be destroyed, but body can perish, but soul cannot. So, Aurobindo in his book Life Divine and Savitri gave new orientation to spiritualism, which was quite out of box, non-traditional. Most of the spiritual leaders claim that world is illusionary, दुनिया मोह माया है, world मिथ्या है, world is illusionary, and one must give up worldly life to lead the spiritual life, either to go to forest or to go to Himalayas or to go for a secluded life away from worldly life. So traditional spiritualism that goes from bottom to up, means goes upwards, means it talks about spiritual upliftment of man by giving up worldly life. It considered that worldly life is below and spiritual life is something above. God is somewhere above. Aurobindo rejected that. That divine forces are not only above, they are all around us. It's not only above, right, left, top, bottom, everywhere divine forces are there. But we must do something to allow those divine forces to enter our life. Means Supermind will allow the realization of Brahma. That is evolutionary process. So Aurobindo accepted evolutionary process with the passage of time, evolution, that is changes around us. So changes around us, you know that with the changes around us, first is matter, then creature, then mind, then supermind, and then Brahm or God, realization of that God. This is the evolutionary process. First matter, then creature, then mind, then supermind, and then Brahm. This is the evolutionary process. But Aurobindo claimed that this process can be accelerated by involution. Involution changes within in the individual. Evolution changes around. So we should make changes within us in such a way that there is synchronization between involution and evolution, and so that we allow supermind to descend to our life, and then we can realize Brahma also. So what we do changes within us, and how we'll do this? This he suggested by not only one yoga. Yoga means jod, sum total, that is integration of mind, body, soul. He talked about sum total of all yogas, karma yoga, hat yoga, raj yoga, gyan yoga, sum total of all the yoga is called integral yoga. So by following integral yoga only, we can have involution, that is changes within us, to accelerate the process so that supermind descend to our life. We will reach to supermind even a very evolutionary process, historical process, which will be quite delayed. As human has evolved over the period of time, the things have evolved over the period of time naturally. But our involution, our integral yoga will make the difference. It will accelerate the process. It will allow divine forces to enter our life. And once it is done, then we achieve Sat Chit Anand. That Sat means truth, Chit means mind, Anand means ultimate pleasure. And once we realize the Brahm, we realize the stage of Sat Chit Anand. So that process will be involving involution and synchronization of it with evolution. Evolution is changes around us, involution changes within us by means of integral yoga, and by that we will allow divine forces to enter our life. So Aurobindo's spiritualism is different from traditional spiritualism. Aurobindo did not claim that world is illusionary and one must give up the worldly life to lead the spiritual life. No. Aurobindo claimed that one can lead a spiritual life by remaining within the worldly life. No need to change the worldly life. One can lead a spiritual life by remaining in the worldly life. So this is how his spiritualism is not going from bottom to up. His spiritualism is top bottom. Means allowing divine forces, spiritual forces to descend to our life, to our mind, supermind and Brahm descend and can be realized in our life. So the same he claimed for nation also. Aurobindo and Swami Vivekananda favored cultural nationalism. Cultural nationalism, bit mystic, but it considered community of people as cultural community to have feeling of oneness or nation. So cultural nationalism was there in India for thousands of years, because Sanatan culture, Hindu culture, is oldest culture, and that culture should be the basis of nationhood, and it has nothing to do with the British coming to India. It is partly inspired from 18th century German thinker Hegel, who talks about universal spirit in the state. So there is synchronization between individual spirit, which is part of national spirit, and this national spirit is part of universal spirit. They are all synchronized. They are not working at cross purpose. They are all synchronized. And Aurobindo claimed that nationalism thrives on divinity. So British could not have crushed it, because British could not crush divine forces. And nationalism was having a spirit. Body can be destroyed, body can perish, spirit can never be perished or can never be destroyed. So Indian nationalism was thriving based on divine forces. This is the reason why Aurobindo criticized moderates and claimed that moderates needed a new lamp to see the spirit of Indian nationalism, which was pre-existing, which were existing even before British came to India. So cultural nationalism, presently also favored by party like BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, that Sanatan culture, Hindu culture should be the basis of oneness, and that is existing for time immemorial. It favor historical use of legends, heroes, past achievements, glory, that is the basis of nationalism, and this is the reason why our past heroes of Sanatan Dharma, be it Maharana Pratap or be it Shivaji or be it ancient rulers or Guptan period, they are being glorified, and it is being claimed that India was, the people of India had feeling of oneness, because nationalism is what? Nation is the group of person having feeling of oneness based on shared historical memories, shared territory, shared aspirations, shared interest. So Aurobindo and Vivekananda claim that India was nation, a cultural nation. The father of political nationalism is Rousseau, J.J. Rousseau, who inspired French Revolution 1789, and J.J. Rousseau talked about general will, popular sovereignty. So that was political nationalism. They claim that political nationalism is of course modern, no doubt in it, based on right of national self-determination. But as far as cultural nationalism is concerned, it is existing for thousands of years, and Aurobindo claimed that individual spirit is in synchronization with national spirit, and national spirit is in synchronization with universal spirit. So Herder and Hegel partly inspired their thoughts that this is having a spirit and the spirit cannot be crushed. So Aurobindo firmly claimed that he was the first to claim that Swaraj means complete independence, not only self-rule under benevolent guidance of British rule. No. For Aurobindo, Swaraj means complete independence. And complete independence would not be the end. It will be one of the milestone. It will be one of the milestone by which India will provide spiritual leadership to the whole world, as it did in past or in ancient period, to become Vishwaguru or a spiritual leader of the world. Because India is known for its spiritualism, while Western world is known for its materialism and science and technology. So Aurobindo claimed that political independence or independence would be just the means, will be just a milestone to provide spiritual leadership to the whole world, and once there will be spiritual unity among humankind, then there will be world government. So Aurobindo was first to advocate the cause of world government, not only Indian independence. Indian independence will be just a milestone, just a stage where India will start providing spiritual leadership to the whole world. So Aurobindo talks about spiritual unity of humankind, psychological unity of all humankind, cultural unity of all humankind. And based on cultural nationalism, Article 44 of our Constitution is based on that uniform civil code, means one nation, one culture, one source of law. But right now we have multiple sources of law, like different personal laws, Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession Act 1955, 1956 respectively, Muslim Personal Law, Christian Marriage Act, Anand Marriage Act, tribal laws. So we have multiple sources of civil laws regarding marriage, divorce, alimony, maintenance, adoption, succession. We have uniform criminal code. A criminal is criminal. A murderer is murdered, whether Hindu or Muslim or Christian or tribal or non-tribal, whatsoever. But civil laws are not uniform. So Article 44 is inspired from monistic theory of sovereignty given by Austin, who claimed that sovereignty was absolute, indivisible, permanent and inalienable, and that is, law was the command of the sovereign from determinate source and backed by sanctions. So Article 44 talks about desirability. State should endeavor to have uniform civil code. But in wake of thick diversity, multiculturalism, secularism and democracy, we allowed coexistence of diverse sources of law. So we followed pluralistic theory of sovereignty, that the society is itself plural. There are plural means diverse cultures, diverse multicultural nation we are. So we allowed existence of different personal laws which will guide people. However, it was being argued that with modernization, with nation building process, we will rise above our identity politics and we will consider us Indian first, then belonging to our religion or region or caste or language or so on. But still there is no uniform civil code. Our Prime Minister talks about secular civil code, and Supreme Court has also said that the good doctrine of essential religious practice means a social evil which is not part of essential religious practice will be done away with, like triple talaq, like allowing entry of women in Sabarimala temple. So they were social issue, not religious issue. They were causing social evil and they were not part of essential religious practice. So we will first target those social evils which are justified based on religion, which are not essential religious practice, and they gradually moving towards uniform civil code. As personal laws are there in concurrent list, so states have concurrent power to make laws on personal laws. So Goa is the first state to have uniform civil code, Uttarakhand is the second. But out of 28 states, only 2 states have uniform civil code. Assam gradually moving towards it, and center is also planning to have comprehensive bill for reaching closer to uniform civil code, first through secular civil code and then later uniform civil code. So this is how Aurobindo's spiritualism is unique, is quite different from traditional spiritualism, and it is claiming that British imperialism, we have to got liberated from British imperialism not only through self-rule but through complete independence, which will be a milestone. And Aurobindo was the first to advocate the participation of masses in our freedom struggle. Although he could not enlist the support of masses, that credit goes to Gandhi. But he advocated the cause of participation of masses under the leadership. So by this, Aurobindo's spiritualism is unique. This is very, very essential topic, because many people feel it difficult to understand because they see Aurobindo's spiritualism from the lens of traditional spiritualism, by which you will not be able to understand. So that's it for today. Thank you.